So as you can see, our schools, our school leaders and teachers are really being creative and innovative and thinking out of the box on how to rethink just the four walls of the classroom. Don't get me wrong, rigorous academic learning is still number one, but being able to connect that to real durable skills that get kids truly college, career, and life ready is the goal of this particular initiative. So who better to tell us more about those kinds of experiences than our students? So we've got a group of amazing scholars that are going to be joining us from several different school districts who are actually piloting a work that we call client-connected projects. And these experiences that we're talking about are building on previous opportunities that we've seen in our great CTE programs. Like those have been kind of the gold star standard for real-world learning in the past. But they're not touching all kids. Our GoCaps programs are wonderful programs, but real-world learning opportunities, but not for every child. And so the notion behind our client-connected projects and some of the other experiences that we're sharing with students is to make sure that all kids have a real-world learning opportunity to help them really find their passions and their interests and really where they want to go with their life, the different kinds of pathways that are out there to explore. So, to help you to better understand what students think about this real-world learning work, we've got a panel, and I'm going to ask Heather to facilitate that panel.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, students. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to scooch this up a little bit. I am glad to be out from behind that podium. I feel very short behind that. Welcome. I am so glad you guys are here. And I don't know about you all, but every time when I watched that video just now, it just reminded me of the incredible, absolutely incredible opportunities that our kiddos have through each and every one of our districts. And I am so grateful for, I know my kids here in Nixa, the sky's the limit, and it's incredible, and I can't wait to hear about your experience. So I'm gonna start with introductions. So when I say your name, I better start my timer too, so Pam doesn't have to like shoo me off stage. Okay, so I'm gonna start with introductions, and if you could just raise your hand, I'm not sure if you're in order. So we've got Addison Rogers with Pleasant Hope. Hi, Addison. She is a senior and serves as FFA student advisor. We have Kira Goki with Republic. Did I say that right? Awesome, okay. She is a senior and she plays softball, is a part of the Sources of Strength mental health group, National Honor Society, Key Club Community Service, serves as intern in the education strand, spending time each day in an elementary classroom, and serves in the Greater Ozarks Real World Student Ambassador Program. Very cool. From Springfield, we have Isaiah Hampton. He is a senior at Parkview and is involved in both sports and activities. He serves as captain of the football and basketball teams, co-president of DECA, vice president of Brother to Brother, elections commissioner for cabinet, A+ tutor, member of First Priority and National Honor Society, and plays baseball. You all are very busy. Then from Springfield, we also have Aiden Brown. She's a senior from Glendale. She is a leader in cabinet, a member and competitor in DECA and FBLA, an A+ tutor, golf athlete, and the Falcon Friends chapter co-founder. Then we have Landon Dimmick from Lebanon. He is a senior, a second-year GoCaps program student. Last year, his client-connected project was working in partnership with a local bank to create a more flexible work option for students engaging in GoCaps. And then from Houston, we have Chesney Warner, a senior. She is a chapter FFA vice president and Area 13 treasurer. She is an intern at the MU Extension office. Awesome. And then we do not have Cammie from Reed Springs. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave her out. Well, welcome, guys. Are you ready to answer some questions? Okay. So I am going to ask for each of you to describe a recent learning experience you have had at your school that you found real and relevant. Educators call this real-world learning. Who wants to start? Do you want me to volunteer somebody? Okay, do you want to just start here? Okay, we'll start here. Thank you, Addison.
So at my school district, they started something this year where I could go to 3 different areas or different schools in our area. So I go to Bolivar and Morrisville, and I'm planning on going to Fairplay in the spring. So while at Morrisville, they've got an elementary ag education program, and so I've got to go into that classroom and see her teach some 4th and 5th grade classes. And recently they were talking about pollination because they were talking about plants, so she wanted to go more in depth with bees and pollination. And so one thing that they really hit hard on was the waggle dance, which sounds so silly, but without the waggle dance, bees wouldn't be able to find flowers and crops to pollinate. So she showed them not just a video, she didn't just give them a worksheet, she showed them how to do the waggle dance, and they got to do their own. So I thought that was really neat just for her to actually get up there and show them rather than just telling them.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing. Who else? Isaiah, you have a microphone in your hand. I'm going to pick on you.
So I'm our co-president of our DECA chapter, and my project last year was aimed towards financial literacy. Me and my partner felt like it was kind of a thing that a lot of students don't get involved in before they enter the real world. And so we worked last year to connect with 5 competing banks across the Springfield area and all 6 SPS schools to go to those banks and kind of learn about jobs in banking, financial literacy in general. And so this year, actually, we're expanding that project, and we're going to elementaries as well. So we're going to have like a mini market to kind of just expose them to how to manage money and how to focus on that. And just through our DECA programs, we have our school store where we sell food and also merchandise. So I work with a lot of people and just making sure that everything runs smoothly and making sure that everything is just organized. So I think that was a real world learning experience that I've had just recently.
Thank you for sharing. Kara, did you have something to share?
I was going to volunteer to go. So I aspire to be an elementary school teacher whenever I graduate from college. And so, and my school's given me the opportunity. I actually get to go into a second grade classroom for my last 2 hours of the day. And I get there right for small group reading and writing time. So I get to go around and I get to help the kids with whatever writing piece they're working on. And then whenever the teacher is pulling small groups, I get to go through maybe some math problems that they struggled with. I get to give fluency assessments. And then I'm just learning all of the little things that go into being a teacher that maybe I didn't know about before. But it's really cool that I'm already seeing how my future career is going to play out, and I'm not even in college yet.
Great. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. Aiden?
Okay, so I'm a DECA officer for our school this year, and so this last week we've been doing what's called the DECA SBE Week, which is our student-based enterprise week, where we kind of just get to show the things that we do in our school store called The Nest at Glendale. And basically this week you get to just show, like, each day has a different theme, and you show, like, one day is like our SBE showcase where you show like the best product of The Nest this year. And so I think that's a great way for our students to get involved in like showing what we do behind the scenes that not other people get to see. So that's from kind of just like the recent month.
Great. Thank you. Landon?
Yeah, in my school in Lebanon, we have a program called Go Caps. And so students get to go into the community and job shadow actual business owners and leaders. And so last year, at the end of the year, we have to do a project called Capstone. And so last year, I made a program, me and my partner made a program called Pathways to Paychecks, and it allowed second-year GoCap students to be able to go into the businesses and get hired as second years, so they'll be seniors, but it gets them in the door before actually coming out of college or going into college. And so it's a great way to connect, and it really showed that the students that after the first year that you can take it further before going to college. So.
And Chesney?
So I student teach under my ag teacher at my high school, and I help with our Ag Science 1 class. Every year we help with our City Fall Fest, and we really sell mums and pumpkins that help support our chapter. And so in the classroom, I had been helping with our freshmen and preparing them for sales. I don't think anything I told them really would have prepared them for what they were actually going to be doing when they were out there. They were very shocked. So we just took them out there and we were teaching them just basic communication skills, having them introduce themselves, tell them what they're there for, just really preparing them for like actually speaking to people instead of just making them, telling them, hey, go talk to this person and sell them a mum. Like actually get to know the person, tell them what you plan on doing with the money. So we're just making sure our freshmen know that like you're gonna be a part of the community and you're gonna have to help with the community, not just be in the classroom.
Great. And Chesney, I'm going to start with you down there with our next question, and it's going to be kind of twofold. So, how did this experience help you see your school subjects differently, if they did? And what did you learn about yourself?
So I learned that I really do. I already knew that I had a passion for teaching, but just in the few short weeks that I've known these kids, it really has fueled my passion for wanting to educate the youth on agriculture. And so I've just learned so much. I've gotten so much more patient. I've gotten so close with the kids. They've actually started calling me Miss Kinney. I'm not even a teacher yet, but they love it. I just love getting to teach them about the community that has given me so much, as well as the industry with agriculture.
Landon?
I learned that the school subjects, like in our program, we actually got to see how they work in the real world. So math wasn't just problems and answers, it was wages and budgets and all of this. And so it was incredible to see. And I learned that in the community that it's not as scary as I thought it was, because all the business leaders, I learned that they're just normal people like us, and that it's really, they care about the younger generation. So I learned that.
I think for us at Glendale with DECA, I think having a store being ran is a really hard process with a bunch of students. I think that definitely takes a lot of communication. So in our classroom, in our marketing classroom, we have a phone that goes from that classroom down to the nest, and that has come very clutch. I think that our students sometimes run into some problems where you definitely have to call the teacher, and so being able to work those problems out is really nice.
Sounds like there's been a lot of teamwork and communication and problem solving. Would you all agree with that? That's wonderful. Isaiah?
I feel like when it comes to like school subjects, I've gotten to the point where it's less about the content and it's just about the things you learn completing those things. So, like when it comes to like essays, in my English class, I've learned how to time manage and get things done by a certain due date. In my math class, being able to problem solve, and in science, just being able to just be creative and try different things. And I feel like that's something that has changed because of the programs I've been exposed to, the real world businesses and mentors that I've been around, and yeah, it's just something I felt like.
You attribute that to your real world learning experiences? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. All right, Kara.
I would say the main thing I've learned about myself is kind of how to push myself and how to trust my gut on a lot of things, because talking to little second graders, they definitely don't all learn the same way. And the fact that we're teaching them like the basics of learning and how that's going to help them grow as learners as they get older, it's really important to try and like talk to them each a different way and learn how they learn best. And the other big thing that I've learned is last year I did this internship with a kindergarten class, and I definitely learned that I don't want to be a kindergarten teacher.
And that is just as important.
So that was very helpful last year, because I could have told you 100% that I wanted to be with kindergarten, but I figured out that I do not. So that's the other big thing. That's good.
So I think one thing that I've learned about myself just throughout agriculture education in general is that it's so applicable. So like I do agri-science projects. That is my thing when it comes to FFA. I have done 5 in my high school career, and I plan to do 2 more this year. And I've learned that you use everything from that project on a daily basis. So in order to do an agri-science project, you have to use the scientific method. You have to write a whole research paper. You have to know APA formatting. You have to know how to speak. You have to do interviews. You have to practice. Like that's something most people don't realize, how much work and practice goes into everything that you do. But it does. Math, you use that so much more than you think. We were talking about it in Miss Porter's class the other day about how you use it so much more than you think. Skip counting randomly throughout your day, a little multiplication here, a little division there. Like, it is just so much more than you realize.
All right, students, I've got one last question to wrap us up, and we're going to have to be relatively quick. But how have these experiences, or have they helped you decide what you potentially want to do with your future? I know we've got a few teachers, it sounds like. So who else?
I learned through it, I got to connect with a local bank, and I learned that I wanted to be an engineer before going into it. And so I got to job shadow an engineer, and I was like, man, this is not what I want to do. And so I was talking to my teacher. I was like, hey, I don't really know what I want to do, but can you just kind of put me here and there to see what I might want to do? And so I got placed at a local bank. And like from the first time I walked in there, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I want to become a loan officer now.
Fantastic. Landon, that's awesome. Who else?
So I was offered an internship position here at Mizzou, so that's what I'm doing currently. And while I have learned so much here at Mizzou, I'm learning so many communication skills, and I love getting to reach out to local producers and everything. I just learned I love the more classroom side of the agriculture community. I really do have a love and appreciation for communications, but I think this has really pushed me even further towards agriculture education than I have been before. And I just love being able to educate the youth on things that they didn't know, like how agriculture is all around them no matter where you go.
And it is totally valid, and just as important to know what you don't want to do. So that's great. Anybody else?
I think for me, I've always wanted to do something in fashion and business sales, but I think that I didn't really know what that meant until I got into high school and I started working in the Nest and taking business finance classes, personal finance, marketing, entrepreneurship, all the business classes. But I think that the more that I learned and the more that I did hands-on, like in our classrooms, the more that I learned that I want to definitely do the sales part of it. Analytics is not for me. So I definitely like to do the more designing side of it, which is nice to kind of figure out what I want to do in my classroom instead of just kind of guessing when I went to college.
Going off what these guys said, growing up, I thought I was going to be LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, and then I turned out to be 5'8". So that kind of went out the window. So I came into high school not really knowing what I wanted to do. And through all the business classes, the entrepreneurship classes, the marketing classes, and also being able to have a mentorship program, being in the mentorship program with Commerce Bank, I've kind of figured out that I wanted to go into banking, and just figuring out how much they do with the community outside of just being in an office building has just set my future in the right way, and I wouldn't have done that without just all the classes I've been able to take.
Great. Last two. Anything to add? Okay.
So one thing that I really learned this year is that I went into this year thinking I want to teach elementary ag ed, which is something that is not big in our area or at all in general. I tried high school my sophomore year, or junior year, I guess. I sat in on a freshman class, and it was not my speed. I think just seeing how they process things at that young age and how much that affects the rest of their life is huge. Like, the agriculture industry is the biggest industry we have, and just knowing that our land is going down, but the amount of people is going up, and that most people don't realize that, and it's going to continue to decline. Where's our food going to come from? Those kids are our next generation of agriculturalists. What's going to happen to us? So I think that's really neat, just teaching them about that.
You should talk to my friends at SPS about that.
I mean, I've kind of always known that I wanted to teach whenever I graduate from college, and this internship has just really solidified my decision. But it's just helped me learn all of the little things that go into teaching, kind of like I said before. And it's just really solidified my decision because I get to see that I am making an impact daily in these kids' lives. And I think it's so important because they are the next generation. And the fact that I have the opportunity to influence them and support them and give them a person that believes in them is just really cool to me. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you all for being here again. This is why we do what we do, and you guys are incredible world changers. And you guys, if you are our next generation of leaders, we are going to be just fine, and that is awesome. So let's give them a hand, guys. Turn it back over to Pam.
What an awesome group of students. And they're representative of, the 160,000 students across this region. So just so proud of them. And think about the lessons that they just shared with us that they took away from those projects or those problems that they were working on in real world learning. Do you get those kinds of experiences in the regular classroom? Some. But just adding that extra layer with those real world, outside of the regular classroom typical experiences to the repertoire, we're really doing a great job preparing kids for the future. As Heather said, we've got a bright future ahead of us because of students like this. So Heather, nice job. Thank you for taking time to lead that conversation.